What's splashing, everybody? 2 new cards just dropped in the new pack, and I'm going to show you guys what these 2 cards do for our Sharks deck. So the combo's basically the same, just one change, and that is the inclusion of Full Armored Black Ray Lancer. So I'll show you guys in a minute. We're going to go into our Buzzsaw into Bahamut Shark, summon the Virtue Dragon, and then add Virtue Stream. And here we're just going to activate Virtue Dragon right away. We add Jet Shark to the hand, and on 5th summon, we special summon Full Armored Black Ray Lancer. Most people are pretty trigger happy with their Nibiru, so they might activate it here, or they might activate it on the summon of Exy Armor Fortress before you get a chance to activate it and add your Exy Armor spell and trap cards. It's not the most reliable out to Nibiru since it's not a negation, and it does rely on your opponent not really knowing what you're doing. Now we can search our new Exy trap card. We're going to send it to the graveyard with Hydro Jet Shark, jump into Dark Knight Lancer, and then add the trap card to our hand. Now we have a counter trap that can negate the activations of spell trap cards or monster effects, but it can only do so if you control an Exy monster. So this is why you only want one of them, because it's not really a card you want to start with. It's something you just want to search. This trap card has 2 other effects, so after you negate the activation of a monster spell or trap card, then you can detach 2 materials from a monster with an S, so it doesn't have to be from the same monster that you control, and then you can destroy 1 card on the field. This includes your own cards, so this means you can pop your own Kragan spawn to bring back a Kragan from the graveyard. The last effect allows you to banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Exy monster you control, attach 1 Light Utopia or 1 Utopia Exy monster from your graveyard to it. So you can use this to attach the new number F0 Zexal to one of your monsters in order to trigger Dark Knight Lancer again later in the game after you've already run out of your armored spell and traps. But in most situations you want to keep this trap card in the graveyard so you can keep recycling it with Dark Knight Lancer. So let's return to the game. We'll activate our Big Jaws, add Abyss Shark. Abyss Shark will then add our Drake Shark. So here we're going to go into our Shark Drake, 32, and then Stealth Kragan here, and then C32, discarding the armored spell and attaching it to one of our monsters, preferably DKL or C32. We're getting rid of the other 2 monsters, Kragan and our Bahamut Shark. So we're gonna activate our Stealth Kragan at some point, pop it with Virtue Stream, and then summon 2 Kragan spawns. So activate the Virtue Stream, pop 2 cards, summon 2 Kragan spawns, and then we can now use one of those Kragan spawns and Bahamut Shark to Exy summon the new number monster. So he's going to go into the battle phase, and now we're going to just activate it. He doesn't know that we have this. You need 2 Exy monsters of the same rank to make this monster. That's why we have 2 Kragan spawns and the Bahamut Shark. This card gains attack and defense equal to the total number of ranks of all Exy monsters you control, and also includes the Exy monsters in your opponent's graveyard for some reason, and all of that times 500. So it's got a massive amount of attack and defense. It's got another effect that says your opponent monsters cannot target monsters for attacks, except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field with card effects. That's great, because it doesn't specify which cards, so this means any cards, so any targeting effects must target this card if those effects require targeting on the field. Because this is a light monster, it will not be able to activate its effects if you did activate Dominus Impulse from your hand. But the other effects that we just talked about, the gaining of attack, the protection from targeting, and monsters can only attack this monster, none of those are activations, so they are unaffected by Impulse. This last effect is an activation, and it says once per turn, it is a quick effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, you can detach 1 material from this card, take control of 1 monster your opponent controls. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. So you steal a card just like Utopic Draco Future, but you don't negate like Utopic Draco Future. And you also have this protection. Now, because it is a light monster, it means you can't activate this effect, but the only way around it is by using Kragan to turn this monster into a water, or using the Virtue Stream trap card from the graveyard. You banish it, you target this monster, turn it into water. The effect of Virtue Stream changing the attribute of the monster into water is permanent, so you won't have to worry about it disappearing at the end of the turn. This is where the Unbreakable Xyz barrier might help you in a situation where you've activated Virtue Stream, popped your Kragan, summoned 2 Kragan spawns, and then use one of those Kragan spawns to summon number F0, and then use the Unbreakable Xyz barrier to negate the activation of an effect, detach 2 materials, destroy one of your Kragan spawns to bring back your Kragan, turning number F0 into a water. We surprise the opponent with number F0, they're gonna scoop. So I'm activating Ready Fusion, which means if I do my Bahamut Shark line, my 5th summon is gonna be before I summon the Black Ray Lancer anyway. So I'm just gonna do the normal combo where we go into Bahamut Shark summons the Virtue Dragon, add the Virtue Stream, and then we're just gonna go into Xyz Armor Fortress here, detach 2 materials, add our full armored Xyz Spell and Traps, and then we can go into our Dark Knight Lancer. Here, then we'll add the Big Jaws to our hand with Virtue, special summon it, add the Abyss Shark adds the Drake Shark or Jet Shark if you don't already have it, and then go into Stealth Kragan. We're going to dump the Xyz barrier, add it to our hand, and then go into Shark Drake with all 3 of our materials here, into Shark Drake Levice. This does have the benefit of having a full armored Black Ray Lancer on the field that has 1 material, which means it is protected from card destruction if you do get Regeki'd. So the opponent is playing Sky Strikers, and we're gonna pop this card. We do have our Call by the Grave, but we're not gonna activate it yet. I want them to activate this effect first, and then negate it. They can negate Shark Drake, I don't care here. They want to bait my counter trap, but I know what this card does. It doesn't do anything if they don't shuffle at least 3 or more cards back into the deck. We'll pop our Squid, pop 2 of their cards, summon our Kraken spawns. They're going to activate a spell to banish our Kraken. We don't want that, so we're going to negate it. We could pop the Kraken spawn here, but we don't really need to do that. We didn't activate Impulse. Now we can activate our full armored Xyz to summon our number F0 Utopic Future. They activate a monster effect. We can now steal their Link monster. They're going to activate that spell again, summoning the Bahamut Shark. Now we can activate our full armored Xyz trap card, suck up their Bahamut Shark. On our turn, we can activate the Dark Knight Lancer to recycle the Unbreakable Xyz barrier and OTK 1 hit. Alrighty, now we're going against DDD. We'll activate the Imperm on normal summon. Pop the Fusion. I pop with Kragan as early as possible, that way I can make use of Virtue Stream. And then summon the number F0. The opponent forgot about the Imperm. They activate their next Dark Contract card, summon a Fusion, and into DDD. Go into the battle phase but realize they can't attack any monster except the one with 8500 defense. Now their monster can only activate an effect when we activate an effect, and we're not activating any effect. Equip the Fortress, deal double damage. Absolutely amazing, 1600 damage. This is the deck list I'm using in the videos, where you have 15 spaces for non-engine. We're using Ready Fusion to trigger Big Jaws as often as possible and make us more resistant to hand drops like Ash Blossom and Imperm on Buzzsaw Shark. But the problem is we don't really have a good out to Max C or for Wallows. You activate the Ready Fusion, summon the rare fish, your opponent activates Wallows. You're giving them draws. You don't really have Baguska anymore because that got banned. And you can go back to Crooked Cook if you want, but you may have to replace that rare fish in the extra deck for Crooked Cook. And this means your deck is a bit less resistant to other hand traps, even though it's now more resistant to Max C. I mean, you could replace that one Kragan, one of those Kragans, with a rare fish, maybe. I'd prefer to keep the second Kragan spawn just so you have something to follow up on if you do make it to that third game. I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to balance your deck. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you think these new Xyz cards are worth it.